Today we're going to be reviewing the greatest common factor and least common multiple strategy called the ladder method. And as you know, greatest common factor and least common multiple are very useful when we are trying to find out what numbers other numbers have in common, what numbers they share. So imagine that we are trying to find the greatest common factor of the number 32 and the number 24. So the first thing that I always do is go straight for my prime numbers. And then remembering what prime numbers are, those are the numbers that only have one set of factors, and that's themselves times the number 1. So for instance, the number 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and I usually stop at 11 because I'm not going to be looking for factors to do division any greater than the number 11. So as I'm looking at the numbers 32 and the number 24, I know the first thing that I want to do is to find a prime number that they have in common. So as I'm looking at my prime numbers, I notice they are both divisible by 1, they are both divisible by 2, they are not both divisible by 3, nor 5, nor 7. So the number that I'm going to be looking at is the number 2. So to pull out the number 2 as a factor, we're going to place it outside of our ladder. This becomes similar to a division symbol. 32 divided by 2. And that answer is 16, so I'm going to put it right below my 32. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So that answer will go directly under the number 12. I'm looking again at 16 and 22 this time, same area, but now we're working with our new numbers, so that we can determine what factor will go into both of those. As I look, number 1 goes into both. Number 2 goes into both. The number 3 does not. 5 does not. 7 does not. And 11 does not. And so we're going to use, again, this number 2 as our factor. So we are going to pull our ladder down, and you'll notice the shape of the ladder starting to build. And we're going to pull out the factor of 2. 16 divided by 2 equals 8. 12 divided by 2 equals 6. We're going to continue the process exactly the same. So now I'm looking at the prime numbers for 8 and 6. 1, 2, not 3, not 5, not 7, not 11. So once again, we're looking at the number 2. We can see that 8 divided by 2 equals 4. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And you will notice that the number 3 is now a prime number. Because 3 is prime, we know that our work is done, at least for this part. Now is actually the time where we determine what the greatest common factor is and what the least common multiple is. So to find the greatest common factor, we're going to first look at just this row that supports our ladder. And we're going to multiply these numbers. So this problem becomes our greatest common factor, which will look like 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Bring down your other 2. 4 times 2 is 8. And this tells us that our greatest common factor equals 8. And to check, we can see, does 32 divide into 8 evenly? Does 24 divide into 8 evenly? And you'll notice 32 divided by 8 equals 4. 24 divided by 8 equals 3. So we verified that our answer is correct. Now we want to look at our least common multiple. The least common multiple is actually all of this information here, along with all of this information here. So we're just going to add one more multiplication symbol. So our least common multiple becomes 2 times 2 times 2 times 4 times 3. Once we multiply those together, we will have our least common multiple.